What small act of kindness changed your life? We often hear about grand gestures and life-altering sacrifices, but I believe it's the small acts of kindness that truly shape our lives and society. Whether it's a stranger's smile on a bad day, a friend picking up the phone in the middle of the night, or an unexpected help when you most needed it, these moments can have a profound impact on our lives. I'm curious to know, what seemingly insignificant act of kindness did you experience that ended up changing your life in a big way? How did it affect you, and did it change the way you view the world or treat others? Several years ago, during a particularly rough patch of my life, where everything seemed to be going wrong, I found myself stranded at a bus stop late at night. My phone had died, I had no way to call for a ride, and I was on the verge of tears. A woman, seeing my distress, approached me. Without a word, she handed me her phone to use and waited with me until I had arranged for a ride home. This small act of kindness from a complete stranger was a beacon of hope during one of my darkest moments. It taught me the power of compassion and the importance of looking out for one another, even in the simplest ways. Since then, I've made it a point to offer help whenever I see someone in need, hoping to pass on the kindness that was shown to me. This experience didn't just change my night, it changed my outlook on life. I was a freshman in college, struggling to adjust to the new environment and feeling incredibly homesick. One day, I broke down in a quiet corner of the library. A fellow student who I had never spoken to before noticed me. She sat down next to me, handed me a tissue, and simply said, "It gets better." I promise. We ended up talking for hours. That conversation sparked a friendship that has lasted years. Her small act of reaching out to a stranger in a moment of vulnerability not only helped me through my homesickness, but also gave me a lifelong friend. It showed me the impact a simple gesture and a few kind words can have, encouraging me to be that person for others whenever I can. This experience profoundly changed my approach to relationships and made me a more empathetic and proactive friend. I was at the grocery store, meticulously counting my change to see if I could afford both bread and milk, having to choose between one or the other. A man behind me in line noticed my dilemma and quietly paid for both items without making a big deal out of it. He simply smiled and said, "We all need a little help sometimes." I was overwhelmed with gratitude for his kindness. That moment stayed with me and inspired me to start volunteering at a local food bank. It was a small gesture, but it reminded me of the collective impact we can have on each other's lives through acts of kindness. This man's generosity not only helped me through a tough financial spot, but also motivated me to give back and support others in my community. It's amazing how a moment of compassion can ripple outwards and create a cycle of kindness. A few years back, I found myself navigating through one of the most challenging periods of my life. Everything that could go wrong seemed to do so in quick succession. I had lost my job, was going through a difficult breakup, and was battling a mounting pile of bills that seemed impossible to overcome. It felt as if I was trapped in a relentless storm, with each day bringing more bad news and fewer reasons to hope. On one particularly hard day, everything compounded, leading me to miss the last bus home after a long and fruitless day of job hunting. There I was, stranded at a bus stop in the dark, the weight of my problems finally breaking me. My phone battery had died, cutting off my last lifeline to call for help, and I felt utterly alone and defeated on the verge of tears. That's when an unexpected angel appeared in the form of a woman waiting at the same bus stop. She must have noticed the despair written all over my face, because she approached me with a warmth and concern that felt like a lifeline. Without hesitating, she offered me her phone to use and insisted on waiting with me until my ride arrived, ensuring I wasn't left alone. This act of kindness from a complete stranger was a ray of light in my darkness. It was a reminder that compassion still existed in the world, even for someone like me, whom she had no reason to help. This moment sparked a shift within me. It made me realize the profound impact kindness can have on a person's life, how a simple gesture of concern and solidarity can lift someone out of their despair. Since then, I've made a conscious effort to extend kindness and help to those around me, recognizing that we never truly know the battles others are fighting. Whether it's offering my seat on the bus, listening to a friend in need without judgment, or volunteering my time for causes that help those less fortunate, I strive to be a source of kindness and hope, just as that woman was for me. Her generosity didn't just change my night, it changed my outlook on life, teaching me that even in our lowest moments, Kindness can be a powerful force for good. I learned that we all have the capacity to be someone's beacon of hope, and I'm committed to being just that, one act of kindness at a time. Transitioning into college life was an overwhelming experience that I was utterly unprepared for. The excitement of embarking on this new journey quickly faded as I found myself grappling with the realities of living away from home for the first time. I felt lost in a sea of unfamiliar faces, struggling to keep up with the academic pressures and social expectations that came with university life. This profound sense of isolation and homesickness culminated one afternoon in the library, where the stress and loneliness finally overwhelmed me, leading to an uncontrollable outburst of tears in a secluded corner. It was there, in my moment of sheer vulnerability, that an unexpected act of kindness would forever alter the course of my college experience and my life. A fellow student, whom I had seen around but never spoken to, approached me with a simple tissue and words that felt like a lifeline. "It gets better, I promise." What started as a small gesture of compassion turned into a marathon conversation that spanned topics I hadn't felt comfortable sharing with anyone at college. She listened with genuine interest and understanding, offering advice and sharing her own stories of adjustment. The connection was instant and profound, a beacon of light on a path that had felt incredibly dark. That conversation marked the beginning of a friendship that has blossomed over the years into one of the most meaningful relationships in my life. Her willingness to reach out to me, a distraught stranger, taught me invaluable lessons about empathy, the strength of vulnerability, and the impact of reaching out. It has inspired me to adopt a more open and compassionate approach toward others, recognizing that we all face our battles and that kindness can be a transformative force. This experience didn't just help me overcome homesickness, it reshaped my perspective on human connections and the ripple effect a single act of kindness can have. It's a testament to the idea that sometimes it's the smallest gestures that hold the power to change lives, urging us always to extend a hand of kindness whenever the opportunity presents itself. During a particularly tight financial period in my life, every day felt like a battle to keep my head above water. I was juggling multiple part-time jobs while trying to finish my studies, and the financial strain was taking its toll. It seemed like every cent was accounted for, leaving little room for error or unexpected expenses. One day, this precarious balance was tested when I found myself in a grocery store, counting every coin in my pocket, trying to decide between buying bread or milk. It was a humbling moment, starkly highlighting the depth of my financial woes. As I stood there, wrestling with the decision, the weight of my situation felt suffocating. It was then that an unexpected gesture of kindness pierced through the fog of my despair. A gentleman, who had been waiting patiently in line behind me, gently stepped forward and paid for both items. His act was swift and unassuming, but the impact was monumental. He smiled warmly, his eyes meeting mine with understanding and empathy, as he said, "We all need a little help sometimes." This simple statement, coupled with his generosity, was profoundly moving. It was a reminder that even in our darkest hours, there is light to be found in the kindness of others. This small act of kindness became a turning point for me. It not only alleviated my immediate financial burden but also reignited my faith in humanity and the power of community support. Motivated by this experience, I became involved with a local food bank, dedicating my time to helping others facing similar struggles. This involvement has been incredibly rewarding, allowing me to give back and support my community in meaningful ways. The memory of that day in the grocery store serves as a constant reminder of the difference kindness can make. It has inspired me to look for opportunities to help others, understanding that even the smallest acts can have a significant impact. This man's kindness didn't just help me in a moment of need, it transformed my outlook on life, instilling a deep sense of gratitude and a commitment to paying it forward. It's a powerful testament to the idea that kindness, no matter how small, can change the world, one act at a time. In the bustling world of tech startups, where the pressure is high and personal connections often take a backseat to deadlines, I experienced a small act of kindness that profoundly shifted my perspective on work-life balance and the importance of mental health. I was a junior developer at a promising startup, and I was struggling. The learning curve was steep, and the hours were long. I found myself staying late every night, trying to keep up with my more experienced peers. The stress was overwhelming, and I felt isolated, doubting my career choice and my abilities. One evening, after everyone else had left, I was sitting at my desk, staring at a problem I couldn't solve, fighting back tears of frustration. That's when my team leader, who I assumed had long gone home, walked over with 2 cups of tea. He sat down next to me and simply said, "Let's take a look at this together." We spent the next hour going through my code, and with his guidance, I finally solved the problem. But it wasn't just the coding help that changed my life. It was his genuine concern and willingness to invest time in my well-being. He shared stories of his own early struggles and emphasized the importance of asking for help and taking care of oneself. This conversation was a turning point for me. It made me realize that it's okay not to know everything, and that part of growing is learning from others. Inspired by his kindness, I started volunteering as a mentor for coding bootcamps, helping others who are new to the field navigate their own challenges. This experience has taught me the importance of compassion in the workplace and the difference it can make in someone's life. I've made it a personal mission to pay forward the kindness shown to me, advocating for a supportive and empathetic work environment. This small act of kindness didn't just help me through a tough project. It helped me find my voice and purpose within the tech community, shaping the kind of professional and mentor I want to be. During the darkest period of my life, when shadows seemed to loom over every aspect of my existence, a small, seemingly inconsequential act of kindness brought me back into the light. I was battling severe depression, and each day felt like a monumental struggle. My interactions with others were minimal, and I had lost interest in all activities that once brought me joy. It was during this time that I found myself in a coffee shop, a rare outing, staring blankly out the window. The barista, a young woman whose bright smile contrasted sharply with my mood, noticed my somber demeanor. When she brought me my coffee, she had written a message on the cup: "You are not alone. You matter." This simple message, penned by a stranger who knew nothing of my struggles, was a lifeline thrown to me in a sea of despair. It was a reminder that kindness exists, even in the most unexpected places, and that compassion can transcend the barriers we build around ourselves. This act sparked a change within me. It prompted me to seek help, to reconnect with loved ones, and to start on the long road to recovery. The journey wasn't easy, but that message was a turning point. It showed me the profound impact small acts of kindness can have, inspiring me to become an advocate for mental health awareness. I now volunteer with organizations that focus on mental health, sharing my story and the message that changed my life, hoping to be that beacon of light for others who may be struggling in silence. This experience transformed my view of the world, teaching me the power of empathy and the importance of reaching out, even in the smallest ways, to support those around us. I was a college student, far from home, and struggling to make ends meet. The financial burden of tuition, books, and living expenses was constantly on my mind, and I often had to make difficult choices about where to spend my limited funds. One day, faced with the end of the month, and not enough in my account to cover both rent and groceries, I was at my local grocery store, trying to calculate if I could afford to eat something other than ramen for the week. As I stood in the aisle, counting coins and trying to prioritize my meager shopping list, an elderly lady approached me. She had been observing me from afar and, without a word, handed me a $50 grocery store gift card. Her only words were, "Someone did this for me once, now it's your turn." This act of kindness was more than just financial aid. It was a reminder that generosity and humanity exist in abundance, even from those we have never met. The gift card allowed me to purchase enough food to last until my next paycheck, but more importantly, it restored my faith in kindness and community. From that day forward, I made a promise to myself to pay it forward whenever possible. Now, as a graduate with a stable job, I regularly donate to food banks and scholarship funds, and I never underestimate the impact of reaching out to help someone in need, however small the gesture might seem. That moment in the grocery store was a pivotal point in my life, teaching me the value of compassion and the importance of giving back, lessons that have shaped my actions and interactions ever since. Not long ago, during a particularly relentless winter, I found myself grappling with the aftermath of a severe snowstorm that left my small rural community isolated and many, including myself, without power. The temperature inside my home plummeted, making it nearly uninhabitable, and with roads blocked, resources were scarce. On the third day of this ordeal, with my spirits at an all-time low and my resolve waning, a knock at my door revealed a neighbor from down the road, someone I had only exchanged polite nods with in the past. In his hands, he carried a large thermos filled with hot soup and a stack of blankets from his own home. His simple act of walking through the snow to check on me and offer warmth in such dire times was a profound gesture of community and humanity. This encounter, brief as it was, ignited a transformation within me. My neighbor's kindness, expecting nothing in return, was a beacon of hope in the midst of despair. It was a powerful reminder of the inherent goodness that resides in people and the strength of community bonds, often unseen until times of adversity bring them to light. Inspired by his example, I began to engage more with my neighbors, offering my assistance and forging connections that had previously been absent. We started a community support network to ensure that no one would have to face such hardships alone in the future. The impact of this act of kindness extended far beyond the immediate comfort it provided. It changed the way I view my community and my role within it. I learned that even the smallest gestures can have a monumental impact on someone's life, and that together we possess the power to overcome even the most daunting challenges. This experience has instilled in me a deep sense of gratitude and a commitment to paying it forward, nurturing the bonds that connect us all. Several years back, while I was enduring the trials of job searching after college, a time filled with uncertainty and self-doubt, I encountered a small act of kindness that not only lifted my spirits but also altered my career trajectory. After another unsuccessful interview, feeling particularly disheartened, I found myself in a cafe, aimlessly sipping coffee and staring into space. The barista, a cheerful young woman I'd only ever exchanged casual greetings with, passed by my table and, noticing my gloom, stopped to ask if everything was okay. I found myself opening up to her about my job search struggles, expecting nothing more than a sympathetic ear. What I received instead was life-changing advice. She shared her own story of finding her path in an unexpected field and encouraged me to explore opportunities outside of my degree specialization. Along with her words of encouragement, she gave me a book from the cafe's small library on creative careers. This simple, thoughtful act sparked a curiosity in me that I hadn't felt in months. Motivated by our conversation, I broadened my job search and eventually landed a position in a creative industry that I hadn't considered before but found immensely fulfilling. This encounter taught me the value of open-mindedness and the importance of kindness in shaping the lives of others. It made me realize that sometimes the guidance we need comes from the most unexpected sources. Inspired by the barista's generosity, I now make an effort to reach out and offer support to those around me, understanding the profound impact a listening ear and a few kind words can have. Her act of kindness not only helped me find my professional calling but also reminded me of the interconnectedness of our lives and the power we have to influence and uplift each other. In the early stages of my career, I was tasked with a project that felt way over my head. The pressure was immense, and I doubted my ability to deliver. Working late one evening, feeling the weight of impending failure, a colleague I barely knew stopped by my desk. He had noticed my stress and offered to help review my work and provide feedback. Initially, I was hesitant to accept, fearing judgment for my perceived inadequacies. However, his genuine offer and reassurance provided a much-needed confidence boost. Together, we worked through the project, his insights and encouragement helping me refine and improve my work significantly. This collaboration, initially sparked by his simple act of kindness, didn't just help me complete the project successfully. It laid the foundation for a mentorship that profoundly influenced my professional development. Through his guidance, I gained not only technical skills but also learned the importance of teamwork, leadership, and empathy in the workplace. This experience taught me that success is not solely a result of individual effort, but the support and collaboration among peers. The kindness my colleague showed me that evening went far beyond helping with the project. It helped shape the professional I am today. It instilled in me the values of mentorship and support within the workplace, leading me to seek out opportunities to assist and uplift others in their professional journeys. This act of kindness demonstrated the ripple effect that one good deed can have, inspiring a culture of collaboration and support that benefits everyone involved. It was a powerful lesson in the impact we can have on each other's lives and careers through small acts of kindness and support. My life changed due to an act of kindness on a night that could have ended tragically. After years of battling mental health issues in silence, I found myself standing on a bridge, feeling utterly hopeless. It was then that a stranger, out for a late-night walk, noticed me. Instead of passing by, They approached with a gentle concern that felt both surprising and comforting. They didn't offer grand solutions or dismiss my feelings. Instead, they simply talked to me, sharing stories of their own struggles and how they found light in moments of darkness. Their willingness to share such personal experiences with a total stranger on a cold bridge at night was a beacon of hope I desperately needed. This encounter, brief as it might have seemed, was monumental for me. It sparked the realization that I wasn't alone in my struggles, that others had walked similar paths and emerged stronger. It encouraged me to seek help and openly talk about my mental health for the first time. This person's kindness showed me the power of connection and the impact of reaching out to someone in need. Inspired by this experience, I became an advocate for mental health awareness, volunteering my time to support others facing similar battles. I learned the importance of simple acts of kindness and the profound difference they can make. This stranger's compassion on that critical night not only saved my life but also redirected it towards a path of helping others find their way out of the darkness. During a period of unemployment when my self-esteem was at its lowest, a small gesture from a neighbor unexpectedly lifted my spirits and altered my outlook on life. Each morning, as I faced another day of job applications and rejections, I noticed a potted plant on my doorstep with a note that read, "A little greenery to brighten your day." There was no name, but I suspected my elderly neighbor, known in our community for her garden and generous spirit. This simple act of kindness, receiving a plant with a note, became a daily reminder of the goodness that existed around me, even in tough times. The plant required care, watering, sunlight, and attention, tasks that gave my days structure and purpose. As I nurtured the plant, I found myself nurturing my own well-being, adopting a more positive mindset. Encouraged by this change, I started volunteering at a local community garden, where I met others who shared stories of resilience and hope. This network of support was instrumental in regaining my confidence and eventually led me to a job opportunity with a nonprofit focused on community green spaces. The act of receiving a plant from a neighbor did more than just brighten my doorstep. It reignited my passion for community and the environment, steering me towards a fulfilling career path I hadn't considered before. It taught me the value of everyday kindness and the impact it can have on someone's life direction. Now, I make it a point to share small tokens of kindness with others, knowing just how significant these gestures can be. The kindness that changed my life came from a teacher during my high school years, a time when I struggled academically and socially. Recognizing my difficulties, this teacher took it upon herself to offer extra tutoring sessions after school, patiently explaining concepts I had trouble grasping and providing a listening ear for my frustrations. But her kindness didn't stop there. She also encouraged me to join the school's science club, a decision that would ultimately shape my future. Through her guidance, I discovered a passion for science I never knew I had, which boosted my confidence in academic performance significantly. This teacher's belief in my potential and her unwavering support led me to pursue a degree in environmental science, a field I am now deeply passionate about. Her small acts of kindness, offering extra help, encouraging my participation in the club, and simply believing in me, had a ripple effect that extended far beyond my high school years. They not only helped me find my academic and professional path, but also taught me the importance of compassion and mentorship. Today, as a mentor to young students interested in science, I strive to emulate the kindness and support my teacher showed me. I've witnessed firsthand how encouragement and belief in someone's potential can ignite their passion and change their life trajectory. This experience has made me a firm believer in the power of kindness to create positive change, both in individuals and communities. It's a lesson I carry with me always, hoping to inspire others as my teacher once inspired me. I was navigating through one of the most challenging phases of my adult life, having recently moved to a bustling city for a new job. The excitement quickly dissolved into a cocktail of loneliness and anxiety, as I struggled to adjust to the fast-paced environment and the anonymity that came with urban living. One day, feeling particularly low, I found myself lost in the labyrinth of the city streets, the map on my phone having failed me at the most inopportune moment. As I stood on a busy sidewalk, trying to make sense of my surroundings, an elderly gentleman noticed my confusion and approached me. With a kind smile, he offered to help, not only giving me directions but also walking me part of the way to my destination. During our walk, he shared stories of the city's history, pointing out hidden gems and offering insights into its vibrant culture. This simple act of kindness from a stranger was a turning point for me. His willingness to take time out of his day to assist me, a complete stranger, reminded me of the inherent goodness in people, even in the most impersonal urban settings. This encounter inspired me to explore my new home with a renewed sense of curiosity and openness, leading me to discover communities and spaces where I eventually found belonging. It also motivated me to pay forward the kindness shown to me. I began volunteering at local events, helping other newcomers navigate the city. This experience transformed my perception of urban living and taught me the importance of small acts of kindness in fostering a sense of community and connection among city dwellers. It was a profound reminder that regardless of where we are, human connection and generosity can make all the difference. During a tumultuous period in my life, where every decision felt heavier than the last, I found myself at a crossroads, both metaphorically and literally. I was on a solo hiking trip, trying to clear my head and find some direction, when I took a wrong turn and got hopelessly lost. As the hours passed, my initial calm turned to panic. It was then that another hiker happened upon me. Seeing my distress, he calmly reassured me, shared his water and snacks, and guided me back to the main trail. This encounter might seem minor to some, but to me, it was a beacon of hope in a sea of uncertainty. This stranger's kindness not only saved me from a potentially dangerous situation, but also symbolized a turning point in my life. His selflessness in a moment of need encouraged me to reevaluate my path. I realized that just like in hiking, sometimes in life, we take wrong turns, but there's always a way back, and often, it's the unexpected detours that lead us to where we need to be. Inspired by this experience, I decided to embrace the uncertainties of life with a more adventurous spirit, leading me to make bold choices in my career and personal life that I had been too afraid to consider before. I also became more open to offering and accepting help, understanding that vulnerability and kindness are strengths, not weaknesses. This act of kindness not only changed my trajectory that day on the trail, but also how I approached my life's journey from that point forward. I was in the throes of preparing for a critical job interview, one that felt like it held the key to my future career aspirations. The stress was palpable, manifesting in sleepless nights and endless worry. On the morning of the interview, as I sat in a crowded cafe trying to gather my thoughts over a cup of coffee, an older lady at the next table struck up a conversation. She noticed the materials spread out before me and the look of concern on my face. Instead of offering unsolicited advice or empty platitudes, she shared a story from her own career, highlighting a moment of failure that ultimately led to unexpected opportunities and success. Her story was imbued with warmth, humor, and wisdom, serving as a much-needed reminder that life is full of twists and turns, and that sometimes what seems like a setback is just a stepping stone to something greater. Her kindness in sharing her experience provided a perspective shift I desperately needed. I went into the interview with a newfound sense of calm and acceptance that no matter the outcome, there would be other opportunities. This encounter, brief as it was, left a lasting impact on me. It didn't just help alleviate my interview anxiety, it offered a broader lesson about resilience and the importance of maintaining perspective in the face of life's challenges. Inspired by her act of kindness, I've since made it a point to share my own stories and listen to others, understanding that our shared experiences can offer comfort and guidance in the most unexpected ways. This simple conversation over coffee was a reminder of the power of human connection and the unexpected ways kindness can manifest and change our lives. On a rain-soaked evening, with the city's cacophony fading into a background murmur, I found myself locked out of my apartment. My roommate was out of town, and the realization that I was without a spare key sank in deep. As the rain intensified, I took shelter under the narrow awning of a nearby store, my mind racing through a list of possible solutions. It was then that an elderly couple, closing up their small bookstore, noticed my predicament. With genuine concern etched on their faces, they invited me into the warmth of their shop. Over cups of hot tea, they listened to my tale of misfortune, offering words of comfort and wisdom. But their kindness didn't end there. They insisted I stay the night in their guest room, refusing to let me venture into the night in search of a locksmith. This small act of kindness from two strangers not only provided me with shelter, it also warmed my heart in a way I had not anticipated. Their trust and generosity, extended so freely to someone they had just met, reminded me of the goodness that persists in the world. This experience profoundly affected my outlook on life, teaching me the importance of compassion and the impact it can have on someone's life, including my own. Inspired by their example, I began volunteering at local shelters, aiming to provide warmth and kindness to those in need. During a time when I was fiercely trying to establish myself as a digital artist, facing rejection after rejection, my confidence was at an all-time low. Each email of denial felt like a confirmation of my deepest fears, that my art wasn't good enough. One day, after receiving yet another rejection, I decided to share my frustration and some of my artwork on an online forum, not expecting much but seeking a semblance of solace among fellow artists. To my surprise, a user responded not only with words of encouragement, but also with a detailed critique of my work, offering constructive feedback and technical advice. More so, they shared my art with their network, which led to my first commission. This stranger's act of kindness, taking the time to provide guidance and support to someone they had never met, was the catalyst I needed to push forward. Their belief in my potential and the tangible assistance they offered renewed my faith in my art and myself. This experience taught me the value of community and the profound impact encouragement and constructive feedback can have on an artist's journey. It shifted my approach to my work and how I interact with the art community, making me more open to sharing my knowledge and supporting others. The kindness of one individual not only helped jumpstart my career, it also ingrained in me the importance of lifting others up, fostering a spirit of generosity within the creative community. In the midst of preparing for my comprehensive exams, a period marked by immense pressure and isolation, I found solace in my daily visits to a local coffee shop. The routine was simple: order a coffee, find a secluded corner, and dive into hours of study. The baristas became familiar faces, their smiles a comforting constant in my sea of stress. One particularly tough day, I realized too late that I had left my wallet at home. Embarrassed and preparing to leave, one of the baristas stopped me. With a reassuring gesture, she insisted my coffee was on the house. But more than the free coffee, it was her next action that left a lasting mark on me. She passed me a note along with my coffee that read, "You got this. Keep going." The simplicity and timing of her kindness were profound. In a moment of stress and vulnerability, her words and gesture were a beacon of support and encouragement. This act of kindness transcended the value of a cup of coffee. It was a reminder of the impact genuine, heartfelt support can have on someone. It bolstered my resolve and reminded me of the power of encouragement. As I moved forward, not only did I successfully pass my exams, but I also carried with me the lesson of that moment. I became more mindful of the opportunities to offer support and kindness in my interactions, understanding that sometimes a simple gesture can significantly lift someone's spirits. During a period in my life when everything seemed to be falling apart, my career was in limbo, my personal relationships were strained, and my mental health was at its lowest, I found myself wandering through a park, lost in thought and despair. It was there that a seemingly inconsequential moment transformed my outlook on life. An elderly man, sitting on a bench feeding birds, noticed my distressed state. He beckoned me over with a gentle smile and offered me a handful of seeds to join him. As we sat in silence, the simple act of feeding the birds and being present in the moment brought a sense of peace I hadn't felt in months. After some time, he shared with me his philosophy on life, emphasizing the importance of finding moments of joy in everyday simplicity and the power of nature to heal and ground us. This encounter, brief and wordless for the most part, was a turning point for me. It reminded me of the beauty and serenity that can be found in life's simple pleasures and the importance of mindfulness and connection to the natural world. Inspired by this act of kindness and the wisdom imparted to me, I began to incorporate mindfulness and nature into my daily routine, seeking solace in the outdoors and practicing gratitude for the present moment. This shift in perspective not only improved my mental health, but also opened my eyes to a new way of living that values serenity and joy over constant striving and turmoil. I've since become an advocate for mental wellness, encouraging others to find their peace in nature and the small, often overlooked moments of life. The kindness of a stranger and the shared experience of feeding birds in the park sparked a profound change in my life, leading me to a path of healing and self-discovery. In the throes of my first year of teaching, I grappled with self-doubt and the overwhelming pressure to make a meaningful impact on my students. The long hours and the emotional toll of the job had me questioning my decision to become an educator. One particularly challenging day, after a lesson that didn't go as planned, I found a note in my mailbox from a colleague I hadn't interacted with much beyond cordial greetings. The note was simple, yet it resonated deeply. You're making a difference, even when it doesn't feel like it. Keep going. We see your hard work and dedication. This unexpected gesture of support and recognition from a fellow teacher was a beacon of light during a dark time. This small act of kindness became a source of strength for me. It reminded me that I wasn't alone in my struggles, that the challenges I faced were part of the journey of making a difference. This note sparked a transformation in how I approached my work, encouraging me to focus on the positive impacts, no matter how small they seemed. It also inspired me to foster a supportive environment among my colleagues, creating a culture of encouragement and appreciation within our school. The ripple effects of that one act of kindness have been far-reaching, not only improving my morale, but also enhancing our collective resilience and camaraderie as educators. It was a poignant reminder of the power of empathy and the profound impact we can have on each other's lives through seemingly small gestures of support. Embarking on a solo journey across the country to start a new life in an unfamiliar city, I carried with me a mix of excitement and trepidation. The daunting task of building a new social circle from scratch weighed heavily on me during my first few weeks. On a day when loneliness hit particularly hard, I decided to venture out to a local community event in hopes of making connections. Amid the crowd, I felt more isolated than ever, until a family noticing my discomfort invited me to join them. They shared their food, introduced me to others, and treated me with such warmth and inclusivity that for the first time since my arrival, I felt a sense of belonging. This simple invitation to share a meal was a profound act of kindness that changed my entire experience of moving to a new place. This encounter taught me the significance of community and the impact of reaching out to someone who may be feeling left out. It ignited in me a desire to create welcoming spaces for others and to be proactive in building connections. I started volunteering for community events, joined local clubs, and became an advocate for inclusion within my new city. This family's act of kindness not only helped me overcome my loneliness, but also inspired me to pay forward the warmth and welcome I received. It reinforced the idea that home isn't just a place, but a sense of belonging that we can help build for each other. Their gesture of including a stranger has had a lasting effect on my life, guiding me to seek out and nurture connections with those around me, fostering a sense of community wherever I go. I embarked on a journey as a digital nomad with a blend of enthusiasm for adventure and a dash of anxiety about the uncertainties that lay ahead. Navigating through different cultures and languages, I often found myself lost in translation, both literally and metaphorically. One afternoon, in a bustling market of a small town where English was scarcely spoken, I was struggling to communicate with a local vendor. My attempts to purchase a simple meal turned into a frustrating charade of gestures and broken phrases. Just as I was about to give up and walk away hungry, a stranger who had been observing my plight stepped in. With fluency in both our languages, she bridged the gap between the vendor and me, facilitating not just the transaction but also a warm human connection that transcended words. This act of kindness from a stranger, who took a moment out of her day to help someone in a trivial yet challenging situation, had a profound impact on me. It reminded me of the basic human kindness that exists everywhere, often surfacing most beautifully when we find ourselves out of our depth. This experience fueled my resolve to continue exploring, embracing the vulnerabilities of travel as opportunities for connection rather than barriers. Inspired by the generosity of the stranger, I made it a point to learn basic phrases in the local languages of the places I visited, aiming to bridge my own gaps in communication and understanding. Her simple act of kindness didn't just help me get a meal that day, it transformed the way I interacted with the world around me, making me a more empathetic traveler and a fervent believer in the power of kindness to unite us across cultural divides. After years of putting my dreams on hold to support my family, I finally took the leap to return to school and pursue my degree. The adjustment was overwhelming, balancing family responsibilities with coursework and the pressure to succeed. Doubts crept in, whispering that I had made a mistake, that it was too late for me. It was during this time of inner turmoil that I received an unexpected email from one of my professors. She had noticed my dedication and progress and wanted to acknowledge my hard work. More than that, she offered her support and mentorship, encouraging me to reach out if I ever needed guidance or just someone to talk to. This small act of kindness, a simple email, became a turning point in my educational journey. It gave me the strength to silence the doubts and reaffirmed my belief in my ability to succeed. This professor's support didn't just help me academically. It bolstered my confidence and motivated me to pay that kindness forward. I became more engaged in class, offering help to my peers, and eventually volunteering as a tutor for other adult learners. Her belief in me inspired me to believe not only in myself but also in the power of kindness to uplift and transform lives. This experience taught me that sometimes the greatest impact comes not from grand gestures, but from the small moments of connection and encouragement that remind us we are not alone in our struggles. Losing everything in a house fire was a devastating blow that left me grappling with the fragility of life and the material possessions we often take for granted. In the immediate aftermath, as I faced the daunting task of rebuilding from the ashes, the outpouring of support from the community was overwhelming. However, it was a small, seemingly inconsequential act of kindness from a neighbor that truly began the healing process for me. This neighbor, whom I had only exchanged casual greetings with, showed up at my temporary residence with a photo album. Inside were pictures of my house and family that she had taken during various neighborhood events over the years. "I find you might want these," she said, handing me memories that the fire couldn't destroy. This thoughtful gesture was a beacon of light during one of the darkest periods of my life. It was a poignant reminder that while material possessions can be lost, memories and the connections we share with others endure. This act of kindness helped me to focus on what truly matters and sparked a determination to rebuild not just my home, but also my life, with a deeper appreciation for the moments and people that make it meaningful. Motivated by my neighbor's compassion, I became involved in community disaster relief efforts, aiming to provide the same support and hope to others facing similar losses. Her simple act of kindness rippled outwards, inspiring a journey of recovery and service that has enriched my life in ways I never imagined. I once found myself stranded at an airport overseas after a sudden cancellation of my connecting flight. The next available flight wasn't until the following day, leaving me stranded, alone, and financially stretched. The prospect of spending the night in the airport, with minimal resources, was daunting. Amid my anxiety, a fellow passenger I had barely spoken to during the wait at our gate noticed my distress. This person, who was on a business trip and had access to the airline's lounge, offered me a guest pass so I could have a comfortable place to rest and eat. This small gesture, extended by a stranger who had no obligation to assist me, was incredibly heartwarming. Inside the lounge, we shared stories of our travels, and I learned valuable tips for dealing with unexpected journey disruptions. This experience transformed a moment of vulnerability into one of connection and learning. The kindness shown to me in a moment of need reminded me of the inherent goodness in people, regardless of the circumstances. It inspired me to adopt a more open and helpful attitude towards others during my travels, understanding that sometimes it's the unexpected challenges that lead to meaningful encounters. Since then, I've made it a point to look out for fellow travelers in distress, paying forward the kindness I received. This incident didn't just make my unplanned stay at the airport more bearable. It enriched my perspective on travel and humanity, teaching me that compassion knows no borders. Returning to education as an adult learner was a leap of faith, riddled with self-doubt and the fear of not fitting in. I felt conspicuously older than my classmates, and this age gap seemed to be an insurmountable barrier to connecting with them or fully immersing myself in the college experience. However, a small act of kindness from a younger classmate changed everything. During a group project, sensing my hesitation to voice my ideas, this classmate encouraged me openly to share my thoughts, emphasizing the value of my diverse perspective. Their genuine respect and interest in my views was empowering. This encouragement led to a deeper involvement in my coursework and participation in campus activities, where I found that my life experience was not a barrier but an asset. This pivotal moment of inclusion and respect from a peer significantly shifted my outlook. It dissolved my fears, allowing me to embrace my return to education fully and to appreciate the richness of diverse perspectives in learning environments. Motivated by this experience, I began to advocate for the integration and support of adult learners within the academic community, organizing workshops and support groups to help bridge the gap between traditional and non-traditional students. This act of kindness didn't just change my academic journey. It ignited a passion for fostering inclusive educational spaces where every student, regardless of age, can feel valued and empowered to contribute. In the midst of a mundane morning commute, absorbed in the gloom of an impending workday, an unexpected interaction with a stranger altered my entire outlook on life. Stuck in the slow crawl of traffic, I noticed a driver in the adjacent lane struggling to merge. Despite the collective impatience that seemed to dominate morning commutes, I decided to let them in. A simple, perhaps insignificant, decision in the grand scheme of things. However, the driver's response was anything but ordinary. As they merged ahead of me, they rolled down their window, and amid the sea of anonymous vehicles, they made it a point to make eye contact and offered a heartfelt thank you with a wave. This brief moment of human connection was startling in its sincerity and warmth. This encounter, simple yet profound, sparked a realization about the power of gratitude and the ripple effect of kindness. It reminded me that amidst the rush and routine of daily life, opportunities for kindness abound, and their impact can extend far beyond the moment. Inspired by this realization, I started actively looking for ways to incorporate acts of kindness into my daily routine, from small gestures like holding doors open to larger commitments like volunteering. Each act of kindness became a source of joy, not just for the recipients but for me as well. This transformation of my daily perspective, sparked by a moment of gratitude on a congested road, has enriched my life in immeasurable ways, fostering a deep sense of fulfillment and connection with those around me. In the wake of losing my job, a casualty of unforeseen company downsizing, I found myself adrift in a sea of uncertainty. My career, which I had meticulously built over the years, suddenly seemed to crumble before my eyes, leaving me to question my next steps amidst the rubble of my plans. It was during this period of introspection and mild despair that I encountered an act of kindness that served as a lighthouse guiding me through the fog. While updating my resume in a local cafe, my frustration palpable as I struggled to encapsulate my experience into bullet points, the cafe owner approached me. Having overheard snippets of my phone conversations over the past few days, she offered not just words of encouragement but a proposition: to use the cafe's community board and social media to broadcast my job search. This gesture, small in the grand scheme but monumental in my journey, ignited the spark of hope within me. It was a tangible reminder that even in our darkest moments, there are beacons of community and support ready to illuminate our path. The cafe became more than a place of refuge. It transformed into a networking hub, where I connected with individuals who shared advice, job leads, and most importantly, their own stories of resilience. This experience profoundly shifted my perspective on the interconnectedness of our lives and the power of community support. It inspired me to pay forward the kindness I received, leading me to volunteer my skills to local businesses and job seekers. This chain of kindness, initiated by the cafe owner's thoughtful act, not only helped me navigate through a challenging time but also redefined my understanding of success and the value of community. The rigors of medical school, with its relentless demands and high stakes, had begun to erode my passion for medicine, transforming what was once a dream into a daunting challenge. Amidst this tumult of disillusionment, a small act of kindness from a patient rekindled the flame of my vocational calling. During one of my clinical rotations, I was assigned to an elderly patient with a reputation for being particularly difficult. Bracing myself for a challenging encounter, I was met instead with a soul whose toughness was merely a facade for the fear and loneliness that hospital stays often exacerbate. Recognizing the opportunity for connection, I spent extra time with the patient, listening to their stories, addressing their concerns beyond the clinical, and simply being present. To my surprise, on the day of their discharge, they presented me with a handwritten note that expressed gratitude not for the medical care, but for the compassion and companionship I had provided. This note, a simple piece of paper yet priceless in its sentiment, served as a profound reminder of why I pursued medicine in the first place: to make a difference in people's lives, not just through healing, but through humanity. This encounter dramatically shifted my outlook on my medical career, reinforcing the significance of empathy, kindness, and the human connection in healthcare. It propelled me to approach my studies and subsequent patient interactions with a renewed sense of purpose and passion, striving always to remember the person behind the patient. This lesson in empathy, taught by a patient through a simple act of kindness, has become a cornerstone of my medical philosophy and practice. As an aspiring photographer, the pursuit of capturing the world's hidden beauty became overshadowed by the daunting realities of establishing a career in a highly competitive field. Doubts began to cloud my passion, and my camera collected dust as I pondered whether my dream was merely a pipe dream. It was during this period of creative desolation that a small act of kindness re-illuminated my path. A neighbor, aware of my passion for photography, but unaware of my growing doubts, mentioned that a local community center was looking for someone to teach a photography class to young enthusiasts. Seeing an opportunity for me to share my love for photography, they advocated on my behalf, resulting in an invitation to meet with the center's director. This opportunity to teach and share my passion with eager young minds reignited my own love for photography in ways I hadn't anticipated. Through teaching, I rediscovered the joy and wonder in exploring the world through a lens, and I witnessed the pure excitement of others as they learned to capture their perspectives. This experience breathed new life into my career, leading me to explore other avenues for sharing and practicing photography, including workshops, local exhibitions, and freelance projects. The neighbor's simple act of connecting me with the community center reminded me that our passions are not just for us to keep but to share, inspiring others, and in the process, rekindling our own fire. This unexpected journey into teaching has enriched my photographic journey and reminded me of the impact we can have by sharing our gifts with the world. In the midst of a soul-searching journey, where self-doubt frequently clouded my horizon, a seemingly insignificant interaction at a local music festival became the catalyst for a profound transformation. I had always harbored a secret passion for singing, yet fear of judgment and failure kept this dream silently locked away. Wandering the festival grounds alone, I stumbled upon a small makeshift stage inviting festival goers to showcase their talents. As I stood there, contemplating the what-ifs, an elderly lady, sensing my hesitation, gently nudged me towards the stage with a warm, encouraging smile. Her simple gesture, devoid of any grand speeches, spoke volumes of belief and support. With a heart pounding in my chest, I stepped onto the stage and sang, my voice shaky at first, then steadier, as I poured every ounce of my hidden passion into the song. The applause that followed was not just a recognition of my performance, but a validation of my unspoken dreams. This moment, sparked by the lady's act of kindness, became a turning point in my life. It shattered the barriers of fear that had held me back, propelling me into a journey of musical exploration and self-discovery. Inspired by this experience, I began to actively pursue singing, joining local choirs, taking vocal lessons, and eventually performing at small venues. The courage to embrace my passion for music has since unfolded into a fulfilling path of artistic expression and connection with others through the universal language of song. This lady's simple nudge transformed not only that one performance but also the melody of my life's journey, teaching me the power of kindness to ignite the flames of hidden passions. Embarking on the journey of entrepreneurship, I was well acquainted with the challenges and setbacks that accompanied building a business from the ground up. Despite the long hours and sacrifices, the dream of bringing my vision to life fueled my persistence. However, there came a point when the weight of financial strain and the fear of failure began to overshadow my initial enthusiasm. It was during one of these moments of doubt that a small act of kindness from a fellow entrepreneur rekindled my spirit. After a networking event, sensing my discouragement, they took the time to sit with me, sharing their own stories of setbacks and eventual success. But it was their offer to review my business plan and introduce me to potential investors that marked a turning point for me. This gesture, extending beyond mere words of encouragement, provided me with the practical support and network I desperately needed. It reignited my belief in the potential of my business and reminded me of the importance of community and mentorship in the entrepreneurial journey. This experience not only helped steer my business through a critical phase but also instilled in me a commitment to pay it forward. As my business grew, I made it a priority to mentor other budding entrepreneurs, sharing insights and opening doors wherever possible. The kindness shown to me in a moment of need evolved into a guiding principle of my professional ethos, highlighting the profound impact we can have on one another's lives through support, mentorship, and a shared belief in each other's dreams. As a fledgling writer struggling to find my voice and place within the literary world, the journey was often lonely and filled with rejection. Each letter of decline I received chipped away at my resolve, leaving me to wonder if my words would ever find their audience. In this valley of self-doubt, A chance encounter at a coffee shop with a well-known author, whom I admired greatly, offered an unexpected beacon of hope. Noticing the pile of rejection letters beside my laptop, the author initiated a conversation about the inevitable challenges of the writing profession. Their genuine interest in my work led to them offering to read a few of my pieces. A week later, I received an email from them, not just with feedback, but with an introduction to their literary agent. This act of kindness from someone who had no reason to extend their hand to an aspiring writer was the lifeline I needed. It provided not only a potential path for my writing career, but also a renewed sense of purpose and confidence in my craft. This experience taught me the importance of community and support within the creative arts. It transformed my approach to writing, encouraging me to seek and foster connections with other writers and be generous with my time and resources, just as the author was with me. Their simple gesture of kindness and mentorship ignited a flame of perseverance and gratitude in me, shaping not only my career, but my desire to uplift others in their creative endeavors. During my early days in the bustling world of startup culture, where long hours and relentless dedication were badges of honor, I quietly struggled with the pressure and pace. Amid this whirlwind of activity and ambition, my contributions often felt small and unnoticed. It was during one particularly grueling project, as I labored into the night long after my colleagues had left, that a small, almost unnoticed act of kindness shifted my entire perspective. The next morning, I discovered a note left on my desk from an anonymous coworker. It contained a heartfelt message acknowledging my hard work and dedication, emphasizing how my efforts were critical to the team's success, even if they weren't always in the spotlight. Alongside the note was a gift card to my favorite local coffee shop, a small token but a huge gesture in my eyes. This anonymous recognition was a beacon in the fog of my self-doubt, illuminating the value of my work and the impact of behind-the-scenes contributions. It taught me the profound power of acknowledgement and the difference it can make in someone's life and career. Inspired by this act of kindness, I began to make a conscious effort to recognize the efforts of others, understanding that validation and appreciation can fuel passion and dedication. This experience not only rejuvenated my commitment to my work, but also instilled a deep-seated belief in fostering a culture of appreciation and support within any team I'm part of. The ripple effect of that one small note on my desk has extended far beyond what I could have imagined, reinforcing the idea that in the ecosystem of work, every contribution matters and kindness is the thread that binds us all together. Recovering from a serious illness can be a solitary journey, one that tests not just physical endurance but emotional resilience. In my case, the road to recovery was long and fraught with setbacks. During one particularly difficult week, filled with complications and discouraging news, the emotional toll was almost as debilitating as the physical one. It was then that I experienced an act of kindness so simple yet so impactful, it became a turning point in my healing process. A nurse, who had been part of my care team and witnessed my struggles, surprised me with a small, hand-drawn card. The card depicted a sunrise, symbolizing hope and the promise of better days ahead, accompanied by words of encouragement and strength. This gesture, small in scale but immense in heart, was a source of light in my darkest days. It reminded me of the human capacity for compassion and the difference empathy can make in someone's life, especially when facing the vulnerability of illness. This nurse's kindness inspired me not only to fight through my recovery, but also to extend the same compassion to others in their times of need. It underscored the importance of emotional support and healing, and sparked a desire in me to volunteer and offer support to others navigating their health challenges. The card, a symbol of hope and kindness, remains with me as a reminder of the strength found in vulnerability and the power of human connection to heal not just the body but the soul. Embarking on the daunting task of changing careers in midlife, with all its inherent risks and uncertainties, was a decision that brought sleepless nights and second guesses. Leaving a well-established path for the unknown was both exhilarating and terrifying. During this transitional phase, filled with networking events and endless applications, I felt adrift, caught between the world I knew and the one I hoped to join. At a particularly low point, when rejection seemed the only constant, a former colleague reached out with an unexpected offer of assistance. They not only reviewed my resume, highlighting skills I had undervalued, but also arranged introductions to contacts in my new chosen field. This act of kindness, a blend of professional support and personal encouragement, was the lifeline I needed. This colleague's willingness to help, asking nothing in return, was a powerful reminder of the impact we can have on each other's lives. Their support not only helped bridge the gap to a new career, but also restored my faith in the value of community and the strength of professional networks built on genuine relationships. Inspired by this experience, I now mentor others facing similar crossroads, sharing insights and opening doors, embodying the spirit of kindness that was shown to me. This journey taught me the importance of paying it forward, of being a beacon for others in their moments of doubt, and of the incredible strength found in collective support and shared wisdom.